How's it going, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with pretty much my last full college football recap video. This is the week 13 recap, and I was at the Iron Bowl yesterday, and I got back late at the hotel, and I didn't feel like making this, so I'm making this right now. And this is, like I said, this is the last full recap video because this is a lot of teams' last games was today. So, yeah, it's been a fun ride. It went by quick, but it is what it is. Starting off Thursday, Texas lost to TCU 2013. This is kind of a surprise. This is their biggest Big 12 victory so far early on, and this pretty much knocks Texas out of the running for a BCS Bowl, which they probably weren't going to get anyway. But Tremaine Boykin, they played well. They got to an early lead, 14-3 lead. Texas tried coming back in the fourth quarter. David Ash threw an interception on the last drive, which kept them from scoring again. So TCU gets the win. Big win for TCU in the first year in the Big 12. Syracuse holds Montel Harris to under 250 yards or 350 yards, 7 touchdowns, whatever he had last week. They won 38-20. This is kind of expected. Ryan Nassib is a really good quarterback, and he can line up some defenses, and that's what he did against Temple, and they win 38-20. Kent State is now 11-1, 8-0 in the MAC, and beats Ohio 28-6. Pretty big win for Kent State, and if they keep winning, they might even make a BCS Bowl. I saw Brad Edwards say something about it earlier, so congrats to Kent State. Nebraska holds on to win Iowa 13-7. This is all Friday games, by the way. Iowa came out to an early lead, had a few miscues in their own red zone, missed a bunch of field goals, and they really beat themselves in this game. Nebraska wins 13-7 and advances to the Big Ten championship game. So congrats to Nebraska; they have a chance to play for the Rose Bowl. And Iowa is now 4-8, which is the biggest disappointment for Iowa fans. LSU beats Arkansas 20-13. Arkansas played them really tough. A bunch of missed field goals, missed opportunities, turnovers early on in the game. The first quarter, they were pretty much moving the ball on will on LSU, and that kind of changed throughout the game. But they could have been winning 7-0 just like that, and I think they fumbled it like on their 5-yard line. So just missed opportunities for Arkansas, like always, to beat themselves. And LSU goes on to be 10-2, and they win 20-13. Utah holds off Colorado 42-35. This is a scare for Utah because Colorado has been playing terrible this year. 1-11 and almost win this game. Utah has to score 22 points in the fourth quarter to win this game. But they win 42-35, so congrats to Utah. They're now 5-7 end of the year, but that's better than 4-8 with a loss to Colorado, definitely. West Virginia is now bowl eligible, and they beat Iowa State 31-24. They had to come back in the fourth quarter, score 11 points. It stops their 5-game losing streak. This would have been 6 in a row, one of the first times ever in program history, but they won, so they avoid that, and they're now 6-5, and they're probably going to. They are going to a bowl game, and Iowa State falls to 6-6, and they're going to a bowl game as well. And one of the biggest upsets of the week, Washington State over Washington. I don't think anybody saw this coming, but they win in overtime, 31-28. This snapped their 8th game losing streak. They ended Mike Leach's first season as head coach on a high note. And Washington still probably go to a bowl game, but they don't want to lose to a rival like Washington State, who's been having a bad year. So that's just kind of embarrassing. But it is what it is, and Washington State wins the Apple Cup 31-28. Cincinnati beats South Florida 27-10. This is probably Skip Holtz probably has one game left as head coach. It's been a disappointing year for South Florida. I think I had them predicted like second in the Big East, and I think they're last. They're just having a bad year, too many turnovers. Defense has been playing poor, and it is what it is. But Cincinnati wins 27-10, improved at 8-3, and South Florida's flip side on that, 3-8. Arizona gets upset by rival Arizona State, 41-34. Both teams are now 7-5 going into the bowl season. Arizona State finishes 5-4 in Pac-12 play, and Arizona finishes 4-5. Arizona State has to have a huge fourth quarter to win this game. Comeback. They scored 24 points in the fourth quarter. They rebounded from Arizona State's big third quarter when they scored 18 points, but they rallied past rival Arizona and get the big win in Todd Graham's first year. Georgia annihilates Georgia Tech. This was expected by me at least. I saw a bunch of people predict Georgia Tech. That was idiotic. But Georgia wins 42-10. They just scored 14 points in the first 3 quarters, and no problem with rival Georgia Tech. And they're moving on to the SEC title game against Alabama next week. Northwestern just annihilates Illinois 50-14. Illinois' first season with Tim Beckham as head coach was a disaster. They didn't get a win in Big Ten play. And Northwestern goes on to be 9-3 and 5-3 in the Big Ten. So congrats to Northwestern. Louisville gets upset in 3 overtime by Connecticut. Connecticut wins 23-20. Louisville and Rutgers are going to be unranked going into their big time game Thursday. Who will probably decide who goes to a BCS Bowl. But Rutgers, like I just said, Rutgers lost to Pittsburgh 27-6. This got destroyed. This shows you how bad the Big East is. They're not going to have one team ranked in the top 25 going into the next week and probably into the bowl season. And they just fall apart in this game, lose 27-6. And Pittsburgh been playing a little bit better football. If they win next week, they'll be eligible after losing to Youngstown State in week 1. They're a lot better football team than they were early on. They just definitely changed. But like I said, Louisville lost to Connecticut 23-20. Michigan gets beat by Ohio State 21-26. They were held scoreless in the second half, and Ohio State scored 6 points. That's where Ohio State won. Ohio State finishes 12-0. Michigan had a little chance to go into the Big Ten title game if they would have beat Ohio State, and if Nebraska would have lost, but they'll probably go into like the Capital One Bowl or something like that. But Ohio State wins 26-21, a big win for Ohio State. They have a chance at the AP title, which probably won't happen. But I'm hearing some rumbles about that, but it won't happen. I don't think anyway. But it's kind of a sour note in the last rivalry game for Denard Robinson and company. But Urban Meyer has his team coached up quite well, and they win 26-21. Virginia Tech remains alive for a bowl game and wins 17-14 over rival Virginia. They will go to a bowl game pretty much, and they had to rally late, had to rally and kick a field goal in the fourth quarter. Virginia went up early 7-0, but Virginia Tech comes out with the victory, and now 6-6 in the year. Virginia finished 4-8. Purdue beat rival Indiana 56-35. I think I got this game wrong, but Purdue's bowl eligible, so congrats to Purdue. Indiana's been playing better football, especially on the offensive side of the ball, but 4-8 is better than last year, but that's not really where you want to be as a program, but they are improving. Kentucky loses to Tennessee, and Tennessee gets their first SEC win of the year, which is their last game. But they finished 1-7 SEC play. Kentucky finished 0-8. Tennessee won this game 37-17. Interim head coach got his first win. It's kind of funny how Derek Dooley gets fired and they get their first SEC win of the year. But Tyler Bray throws 4 touchdowns and they win big. Miami holds off against Duke's rally in the fourth quarter to win 52-45. Duke would have been 7-5. But now Miami 7-5, and win this game 52-45. Duke finishes the year 6-6. They tried coming back at the end, but it wasn't too much. I would have liked to see Duke get 7 wins, but they'll be going to a bowl game probably for the first time in forever. But I think Miami gave up their bowl eligibility to their postseason ban. They themselves imposed it or something. So Georgia Tech's gonna be going to the ACC title game. So, yep. Baylor beats Texas Tech in overtime 52-45. It's a big win for the Baylor Bears, and now bowl eligible, now 6-5. Could finish the year 7-5, but Texas Tech finishes the year 7-5, 4-5 in Big 12 play. Baylor's 3-5 in Big 12 play, but big game by Baylor on offensive side of the football. Just a high scoring game, a old traditional Big 12 game, but Baylor wins 52-45. North Carolina State beats Boston College 27-10, but Tom O'Brien got fired. That's a big story. Don't know why. He finished the season 7-5, but he was fired today, and that was interesting. But anyways, like I said, North Carolina finishes the season 7-5. Boston College 2-10. North Carolina beats Maryland 45-38. Brennan Renner, I think, broke a record for North Carolina. He threw 5 touchdown passes in this game. Kind of surprising that Maryland scored this many points on North Carolina with all the injuries at quarterback position, but obviously they did well, but they came up a little bit short. North Carolina had a big third quarter, scored 24 points, and they outlast Maryland and win 45-38. Oregon was playing Oregon State very, very close. It was 20-17 at halftime or in the third quarter, and they just exploded out of nowhere, scored 48 points, and they beat up on Oregon State pretty bad, 48-24. Like I said, the game was close for a while, but they just out of nowhere just exploded, and they finished 11-1, and they'll have to sit at home for the Pac-12 title game, and more than likely they're not going to make the national championship. So it is what it is. Florida beats Florida State 37-26. This was a close game going into the fourth quarter. Then Florida scores 24 points, and E.J. Manuel had a bad game through multiple picks, and the defense was pretty stout in this game for the first half, and then Florida State scored 17 points in the third quarter. Then Florida scores 24. So it is what it is. Florida ACC teams were 0-4 against SEC teams this week. Some people had ACC going 4-0, and yeah, you see how that ended up. But this should silence all the Florida State fans saying that they could beat Alabama or anybody in the SEC, because yeah. Michigan State beats Minnesota 26-10. Both teams are now 6-6 and are both bowl eligible. And Michigan State finishes the year 3-5 in Big Ten play. Minnesota finishes the year 2-6 in Big Ten play. And Bell had a big game in this game, but Jerry Kill had another seizure on the sideline. So this man really needs to consider for his future of his health to just quit coaching, because that's not healthy. Vanderbilt just destroys Wake Forest 55-21. They brought their A game in this game, went into Winston-Salem and just crushed Edmond Deacons and crushed their hopes of a bowl game. So they would have been 6-6 if they'd have won. But Vandy ends the season 8-4. That's a big accomplishment for Vanderbilt. It's been forever since they've had 8 wins. I don't even know how long it's been, but I know it's been a long time. But Vanderbilt, big game, 55-21 over Wake Forest. Oklahoma comes back to beat Oklahoma State 51-48 in overtime. High-scoring game in Bedlam type game. Oklahoma scored 15 points in the fourth quarter comeback. So I remember seeing this game at halftime because Oklahoma State was winning big, and then Oklahoma just comes out of nowhere, ties the game, and Oklahoma State, it's a back and forth game. I didn't get to watch any of these games, so I was at the Iron Bowl, so whatever. Penn State beats Wisconsin 24-21. Big win for Penn State, but Wisconsin's going to the Big Ten championship game. Penn State would be going if it wasn't for Wisconsin. But I mean, props to Bill O'Brien. I mean, nobody thought Penn State was going to go 8-4. I didn't, definitely, and I've said that throughout my videos. So congrats to Penn State, proved everybody wrong. Matt McGloin's a good old quarterback there, but I think he's a senior, so he'll be gone next year. But I mean, step in the right direction for Penn State. It might go down next few years with all the scholarship productions, but just it's a good year for Penn State. Alabama absolutely destroys Auburn 49-0. If you want to watch my recap, go look at my other videos. Have a recap of this game. I was there, but Alabama just destroys Auburn 49-0. Got Gene Chizik fired. He got fired about 10 minutes ago. But a few more games to go. UCLA loses Stanford 35-17. Stanford, I thought this was going to happen, but it's kind of funny because Stanford will have to play UCLA again next week. I think I said this before, but it's going to be interesting to see if Stanford can do the same exact thing to UCLA 2 weeks in a row. So it'll be fun to watch. Ole Miss beats Mississippi State 41-24. This was a surprise to some people, but I predicted Ole Miss to win this game, not by this much, but the offense exploded in the second half, scored 17 points in the third quarter. The first Egg Bowl win for Ole Miss since 2008, so that's big for Ole Miss fans. Hugh Freeze, good first year, and they're now bowl eligible. Nobody saw Ole Miss being bowl eligible this year, but props to them. Ole Miss finishes 6-6, and Mississippi State finishes 8-4. South Carolina, without Connor Shaw, Marcus Lattimore still beat Clemson 27-17. Just the SEC defense just outlasts Clemson. Clemson scored 14 early, and then 3 the rest of the game, and just outlast Clemson. And they both finished 10-2 on the year. It'll be fun to see where these teams end up in a bowl game. And Texas A&M destroys Missouri 59-29. Been hearing rumors about Gary Pinkel even resigning in the next few days, but we'll see. But Johnny Manziel, huge game, probably end up winning the Heisman. And yeah, they won 59-29. End up 10-2, and Missouri ends 5-7, 2-6 in SEC play the first year. Texas A&M ends 6-2 in SEC play. And last game, Notre Dame beats USC 22-13. This was kind of expected, especially without Matt Barkley. I mean, USC had a chance in this game. They had many chances, and late goal line stand kill USC. And that a bunch of missed field goals in this game for both sides. But Notre Dame, another gritty type game, pulled out the victory, finds a way to win, and they'll be in the national championship game at Miami on January 8th or whenever it is. But congrats to Notre Dame. Great season for you guys, and I really hope we can win on Saturday to see you guys in Miami. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please comment below, like the video, whatever, and subscribe. And as always, roll tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.